wondering if you were going to do massage today. I said no.
I'm going to be doing some next week, on Thursday, I think,
Okay.
if anybody wants to.
Where at?
I'll be doing them at Unity Church, but you'll need to make an appointment. I've got 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock open.
That's all.
I might do them again on Friday, but it's too early to tell.
Are you doing Reiki?
I always do it. I'm doing Reiki
What
right
are
now.
you doing Tuesday? No, but what are you doing?
Massage.
Oh, massage.
Well, let me introduce myself to everybody. I have a lot of different ways that I'm known. I grew up in Asotin as Kathy Gunther. I ran away from home and became Margot Gunther, and then Kathy Trantham, and I'm mostly known now as Margot in Mexico. I live in Tulum, Mexico, and I like to start out today, before I even finish my introduction, with giving you a sample of what we're going to do a lot of today. I'm the creator of what I call my feel-good way, and it's the things that I've learned in my path from severe chronic pain to no pain. And what I learned along the way is that it isn't just about the physical body, it's about our stress as well. So I like to give people ways that they can reduce chronic pain and reduce chronic stress. Not a bad idea, right? So we're going to start. If you're wearing glasses, go ahead and please take them off, even if you don't see very well. And when we're finished, I'm going to tell you to put them back on real quick. So keep them handy. But this is the way that I can show you something that will be a really good tool for you to use. And then the rest of it will be just explaining what you just did. So you're going to start with your fingertips on your temples and press deeply and do circles there. And then keeping that same pressure, move your circles towards your ears and then up behind your ears. So now you're rubbing the part of your ears that is where it hooks onto the head. And keep working your way down the back of your ear until at the bottom your fingers kind of fall in a hole. And then keeping that pressure, now drag that down your neck past your collarbones. And close your eyes. And put your hands in your lap. And feel what's happening inside your body. Everyone in the room probably just took a deep breath without even thinking about it. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And if you're wearing glasses, go ahead and put them back on. And just kind of look around the room, maybe look outside, and tell me if anything is different.
It's brighter. Yeah, it's brighter. That light's brighter.
It's brighter. Anything else?
It's clearer.
Clearer. Those are the 2 usually first ones people say. And then somebody might say, and my hearing seems a little bit clearer. And then is there anything else about how you feel?
More relaxed.
More relaxed. Anything else? Often somebody will say, and okay, so now I just feel like I'm here now. And there might have been some stress around the edges that you weren't even aware was there, but you might now be aware that it's gone. Does that resonate? And so that just took a few seconds. And this is the basis of what I live by. So what we just did was consciously choose the chemistry that is happening inside our bodies. In my feel-good way, I learned that the tension that I was under and the stress that I was under and the constant clenching of my muscles was a big part of what was causing my pain. And when I look around at people, we're all, very much like this. And is there anybody in here who has chronic pain? anybody who doesn't would be the easier thing. You don't have a neck and shoulders that have been tight since you're a good girl. I want to find out what you do. So I start with this just because it gives you absolute experiential, this stuff really works. And so now I'll go back and introduce myself a little bit more. As I said, I grew up here in Asotin, and I've lived in a lot of other places since then. And I'm a registered nurse. I am a licensed massage therapist. And when I started learning this stuff, I weighed over 200 pounds. I was stressed to the gills, smoked cigarettes, drank too much, a few recreational things, partially because of the pain that I was in. And I never talked about it. Nobody really knew I had it. My partner knew because I bitched him every time we get in and out of the car because the door lock didn't work on his side, and it really hurt me to get it open every time. So, I mean, there was just some things. And then at work one day, there was a part of my job that I had delegated out to other people that one day they told me I was going to have to do. And I burst into tears because I knew that if I did that part of my job that I would be not able to walk by the end of the day. And what I had was low back pain with pseudo-sciatica. And that was my wake-up call. And I literally burst into tears in that moment. And I realized that I was going to have to do something to fix this. And I didn't have health insurance, and so I didn't have the things that most people usually do, which is drugs and surgery. So that's kind of how I started learning this stuff. I learned, I'm going to just do a very brief overall on the pain part. This is usually a 2-hour class minimum, and it will go on to all week if you want. I've got so much information about this. But one of the things that I found is that our posture really is a big part of our chronic pain. And I also have figured out that it's not just about our pain, but it's actually, the spine is a very sophisticated sending and receiving device. And if we just keep it in this 3D reality, which I try to do, every neural pathway that happens in your life, every bit of information that goes from your body to your brain and back goes along your spine. And it's supposed to be in a erect, straight posture. And so when that happens, we are able to communicate body to brain a lot easier. So a couple of the things that I teach about that is trying to sit up as best you can without using the back of the chair. Because part of the reason why it's so difficult for us to have good posture is because we've sat supported by the back of the chair all of our lives. And so we don't have the muscles that will hold us up. And I teach a lot of different ways to do that. One of the easiest is just to go like this with your hands behind you, and that holds that lower back where it's supposed to be and opens the chest. What I have found is that our posture goes from this to this over our lifetimes. And so it's about opening the chest and supporting that low back curve. So when you do this, you're doing both. And in my own practice of meditation, I'll find, most meditations start with, sitting in an erect spine. And I'll find myself pretty easily in the meditation, and all of a sudden I'll find myself thinking about, the laundry bill or, whatever I'm thinking about. And then what I'll realize is that my posture has slipped. And when I get my posture back, I'm able to focus more clearly. And I think that between the posture and the tension that we're under, when we get rid of those things, we can feel a lot better. So that's what we're going to talk about, is ways to feel good today. So the other part of the way that we do this is we come from a long history, you know, some people say 10,000 years, some people say 20, 30, or 40, but whatever, we've been on, as humans on this planet, evolving for a long time. And a lot of what we have been doing is surviving. You know, we've been in harsh environments, we have been in life or death situations, and we have evolved into having this fight or flight response that allows us to act really quickly and with a lot of strength and speed to keep from getting eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, right? And when we just let our conscious mind do what arises, a lot of times we're stressed out. I mean, how many times do you hear your friends and family say, "Oh my God, I'm so stressed, we're doing this," or "This is going on," and our shoulders are clenched. But when we do things that feel good, it relaxes, it floods our body with endorphins, and it allows us to relax every muscle in our body and flood our brain with endorphins that automatically make you feel better, right? You felt that when we started that. So what I do in my own life, and why I call it my feel-good ways, because it's the things that I found that really helped me, and what I am wanting to do is to have other people try these out and tell me theirs, and we create our feel-good way. So I'm going to show you throughout this time different ways that I've learned that do the same thing as what we did at the beginning. And one of the ways that I remind myself to do things that feel good is I might just set a timer. A lot of what I am teaching people is we know a lot of these things, but we need consistency, and we need to do them repetitively. I just heard about a great study. So I use this, it's called Insight Timer, and it's a perpetual timer where you can set it to go off, interval timer, you know, every 5 minutes, every 20 minutes, whatever. And I usually have it set at every 5 minutes there's a ding, every 15 minutes there's a double ding, and the double ding I'm reminded to do something else. But every time I hear something that I say, it reminds me to do something that feels good. So I'm going to go ahead and set it and keep talking, and every 5 minutes I'm going to do something that feels good, and I want you guys to just mirror me. And sometimes I'll stop and talk about what I'm doing, and sometimes I'll just keep talking. So here we go. You'll hear this ding. And I always start with the rubbing around the ears. I call this evolutionary exercise number 1 because it always helps. And you go ahead and drag that down to the collarbone, and no matter what's going on for you, it's going to relax you and make you able to breathe a little deeper. So when we get into this fight or flight, what happens, one of the first things that happens is the blood leaves our forebrain so that we will act without thinking. And the forebrain is where conscious thought comes from. So when we're lost in writing a letter, or lost in drawing or sewing or something like that, when we're lost into a sunset, mostly what we're using is our forebrain. But when we've got, you know, an emergency, the blood leaves the forebrain in 500 billionths of a second. I mean, it happens faster than you can even think of it. And most of the people in our culture are in that blood out of the forebrain space most of their day. And so the blood goes to the muscles so you can fight really fast, fight really hard, or run really fast. Another thing that happens in that moment is our respiration becomes rapid and shallow so that we can get lots of oxygen to the muscles. And one of the teachers that I study says that if we can just get people to relax and slow down their breathing, that is really the shift that we need to be making on this planet. And when you do something like rubbing around your ears, you're physically making a chemical change that makes that happen automatically. And when I teach this to people and they do the rubbing around their ears, the whole class instantly takes an involuntary deep breath. And so this is proof that it's relaxing you, because before that you weren't able to do it. So I teach it this very, very specific way. Start here, do it just like that, because when you do it like that, it will always work. But now go ahead and close your eyes. You can leave your glasses on and try to work around them. And just like you're putting your hair behind your ears, but follow it all the way from the temples down past the collarbone. And do it with your eyes closed, maybe 5 times, and pay attention to any sensations that you feel inside your body as you do it. Anybody got anything fun to report? Calming? Mm-hmm. Anybody feel any tingling anywhere in their extremities?
This leg always does it.
Yeah. So that's just a lot easier, that's just something you can do quickly to do that. And it's following down past the collarbone, because that's where the lymphatic system dumps into the cardiovascular system. The neurotransmitters that are very calming, the endorphins and opiates and other things that our body naturally produces, then you take it out of that system and dump it directly into the cardiovascular system, and then the heart pumps it literally to every cell in the body. And my feel-good way is learning to do something that feels good so frequently that becomes your new instinct. When I say this, people are like, what? And what I mean by frequently, I mean like every few minutes. And I don't mean, stop and get a full body massage or do an hour of yoga. I mean do 10, 15, 30-second little things while you're just moving around in your life. And that will start getting your body used to feeling like this, and your brain used to producing this chemistry. We talk a lot in our circles about vibration. And vibration is energy. And in our human bodies, what gets our vibration to do what we want it to do, it's about chemistry. Every thought you think produces a different chemistry in your body. Every single thought you think. And we think about 60,000 thoughts a day. And so that's a lot of chemistry fluctuations. And so what my feel-good way is about is taking control of those fluctuations rather than having them just happen to you. So when you do something frequently, it will literally physically change the brain. So much of the things that we have learned from our spiritual teachers and our self-help teachers is now, being proven by science and being explained in a scientific way so that more people can buy it, shall we say. And one of the things that has puzzled me when I pay attention to the spiritual teachers and the metaphysical teachers and the self-help teachers, when you ask them, okay, so what do I do when I'm stressed out? And they say, take a deep breath and think good thoughts, which I'm completely in agreement with. Those are absolutely the right thing to do. But if the chemistry of your body is in stress or fight or flight, those two things aren't physically possible. So if you can change the chemistry really quick, just by doing something quickly that feels good, then the deeper breath happens automatically. And the blood comes back to your forebrain automatically. So now you can think good thoughts and have a deep breath. And while you're there, you are also bringing your senses are heightened. Like when you're watching a sunset, for example, and there's nothing else in the world to you but this beautiful sunset, and maybe the sweetheart that you have next to you. That's the kind of feeling that you get when you do these things that feel good. It's the similar chemical signatures. So the idea is that if we do these frequently enough, we've proven now with all this new technology, the functional MRI has really changed our lives in that we can now see the stuff that we've been told about before. You know, they've done a lot of studies on monks who've been meditating for 40 years and things like that. And one of the things that they're I gotta come up with a joke, I gotta be that, huh? is that the difference, so they take a group of these long-term meditators, they hook them up to a bunch of stuff, and they say, okay, now focus on compassion, for example, and ding, they're in. Like, immediately their forebrains just light up in ways that normal human beings will never even hope to. Then they hook somebody up who doesn't have a meditation practice, and literally they can't keep a train of thought for even 10 seconds. They say that our mind wanders within 1 minute 6 times. And one of the ways to keep our focus is to feel good and to put what I call the feel-good drugs and chemistry into our system automatically by doing things that feel good. And so when you've been practicing frequently throughout your day, then it becomes easier to remember to do it, A. B, your body's used to it, and C, it becomes your instinct, and it literally changes your brain. If you do something consistently for as little as 4 days, they can put you in a functional MRI before and after and literally see the difference. So with the things that we've been taught before, meditation, yoga, things like that, I'm a big fan of both of them. But I found in my own life, in my feel-good way, I needed stuff that I could do throughout the day to keep myself feeling good. And if I did yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning and I get T-boned at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, I need some tools to use in the moment. And so what I have discovered that is if I do these things frequently, that I can keep my focus on what I really want in life, as opposed to letting my mind just wander wherever it goes. So it's like mindfulness, but physically bringing us into that point. So whenever you massage something or stretch something, you are going to dump those endorphins into your system. And if this isn't comfortable for you, just stretch in whatever way is comfortable for you. Every time you massage something, every time you stretch something, you are dumping those chemicals into your system. And so the more you do it, the more you're going to be in that state. So then when things do come at you, you handle them with the brain that can think about one thing at a time instead of whatever. There's the urban legend about the lady who lifted the car off of her kid. The car had fallen on her kid. Well, if she hadn't gone into this immediate, I got to take care of this right now thing, she wouldn't have even tried that, right? If the blood hadn't left her forehead, she wouldn't even have thought to lift the car. And I don't think I can lift a car. And if she had been in normal consciousness, which is something going on every 6 seconds, she might have been thinking about maybe that she was afraid she said the wrong thing to somebody last night instead of focusing on helping her kid. So there is a time when we need that kind of a reaction, but it isn't every time, you know, we stub our toe or every time we turn on the news or every time we see somebody we don't like, we can take control of the chemistry and make our reactions to what's happening to us more smooth instead of, this up and down thing. We gotta get you guys, it's too warm in here and everybody's about to fall asleep and I'm relaxing. You're full of opiates right now.
But it's too noisy out there and crack the door.
Yeah. So we just gotta think of something to get some energy going in here. So here's another one. I have been practicing and teaching tapping, emotional freedom technique. Many of you may have heard of that. But what we've learned over the years is that when we first started understanding it and started using it, there was very specific protocol you had to follow. And if I've got a big issue going on, I'm going to go back to the original protocol. But over the last 15 or so years that it's been going on, that we've been learning about it, the main thing that we've learned is it doesn't really matter where you tap, and it doesn't really matter what you say, just do it. So right now we're gonna, what I want you to do is just tap on one half of your chest. Little Tarzan action, that should get us warmed up. And especially underneath your collarbone and in front of your shoulder and down the center of your chest. And maybe underneath your arm a little bit. And now stop and close your eyes. And feel the difference between the side of your chest that you did and the side of your chest you didn't do. That's doing something. I can't explain it any more than I can explain how flipping a switch makes this come on, but I can feel it. And I have seen just amazing stuff happen with it. So tapping is another thing that you can do that feels good throughout your day. Try doing the other half of your head. And thump it good.
Are you using fingertips?
I'm using fingertips, yeah. And I'm giving it a good thump. And now stop and close your eyes. How's that ringing your chimes? If you'd like, you can go back and do the other side of your chest. And the other side of your head. More awake. Yeah. There's a particular, so the first thing that I taught you, the rubbing around the ears, I call that ego size number 1, evolutionary exercise number 1. And it's one of the ways that we can train ourselves to be more consciously taking care of our chemistry. And ego size number 2 is a quick couple of taps behind your ear. There's a soft spot right there. Just tap it 4 or 5 times. And it's a little bit more down, like in this soft spot right there. Okay, when the bell rings.
Boy, that rang a bell.
Yeah, that really rang our chimes, right? So when the bell rings twice, then it's time to tap on something, anything. I've seen a demonstration where a woman tapped with another woman here, right? You find the end of your collarbone and then go down about a ½ an inch. That particular spot is kidney 27 in traditional Chinese medicine. And in that one, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling tired, that's the spot to hit. The thymus is underneath the breastbone, this whole part. Yeah, and that's also really great. Every single culture that our culture has studied agrees that this is where our emotions are. And so when you are tapping along this, you're relaxing something that's been like this and allowing it to soften and allowing it to flow a little bit better instead of clenching it up. Every time you're doing something that feels good, it's sending a signal to every muscle in your body to relax. And most chronic pain is caused by frequent tensing and relaxing these muscles. So when you do things that feel good, it's like getting a full body massage. You just relax, right? So I just heard about this study. I heard about it just last night. I don't know when it happened or who did it. But they took a group of people, I'm just going to make up some numbers, we'll say they took 100 people, and they broke them up into 4 different groups. And the first group, they said, okay, we're going to give you piano lessons, and you are going to practice the specific technique on the piano every day for twice a week for 2 hours for 2 weeks. Okay? The second group, they said, you guys are going to come in and you're going to play the piano for 2 hours, but we're not going to teach you how. You're just going to play with it. Just do whatever you want. The third group, they said, don't even come in. You guys just stay home. You're our control group. And the fourth group, they did, now I forgot. The fourth group, they just had them think. They taught them how to do it. And they didn't come in and practice on a piano. They just, for 2 hours, would practice in their mind playing it. Okay? Well, the first and the last group, they did brain scans before and after, and super highways of new neural pathways were forged. Whether they actually were playing the piano or just pretending to, they both had the same results. The 2 groups in the middle, the one who didn't they weren't doing the same thing over and over and over, like the first and the last group were. They were just goofing off, right? So they didn't make the same neural pathways. They made some, but not quite as deep. And then, of course, the ones who didn't do it at all, there was no change in their brain. So the idea of repetition, consistency, and doing it both physically and in your mind, we're finding you can really, truly, honest to God, make changes. We've learned more about the brain in the last 20 years than since the beginning of time. And mostly what we've learned is what we knew before isn't true. But most people are still acting on the old knowledge, which isn't true anymore. We've learned you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's all these different things that make us think that we can't really make changes. But what we have learned is consistency and doing it frequently are the things that will make it happen for us. So with my feel-good way, the idea is to do something, anything that feels good frequently throughout your day, and then it will become easier and easier and easier. And not only that, but as stress comes at you, you will be ready for it. You won't be already on your last nerve, right? Let's see, what's another one? Well, Jackie was telling me this one. Doorways. Go ahead and stand up. And you can use, if you're tall enough, you can use this one. If you're not, just pretend. And pretend that you're in a doorway, stretching open your chest. When I was talking about the posture earlier, our biggest problem is our chest is closed and our back is straight. So when you're stretching in a doorway, you're stretching it open physically, and you're producing more endorphins and other feel-good drugs at the same time. I figure we go through about 100 doorways a day. And what if 5 or 10% of the time you're going through the doorway, you go ahead and you stop and you stretch. So that'll remind you to do it every time you go through a doorway. Another one is to go into the doorway, if there was the other side, is stick your elbows in like that and lean forward. And you're going to stretch a whole nother part of your chest. And that just feels delicious. Yeah, that's a good one too. Now try it like this. Now.
Okay. I need to go up and get another spray up there.
Yeah, the wall works really well.
really, really well. And so the other thing that happens is if you stop and do this before you walk into a room, you're gonna walk into a room with this glow that's contagious. You've all heard of contact high, right? What, honey?
I said, I'll start running around like my kitty cat.
There you go, there you go. Hey, doesn't your kitty cat love this more than anything?
Oh, yes.
How about your dogs and
Yes.
cats? They love that too.
I do my dog, I do his ears.
Or right
And he's
here.
under some stress right now, and he just groans. He just, and then the cat too. They go, I do it all the time.
I think that we should treat each other like this. Oh
my
God! What a nice girl you are! Oh, how about right there? You are right there. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So
I don't know
I'm
if
gonna.
I don't know if we better try that on Sunday.
Well,
Instead of a hug, you're a hi!
there's another way to get the endorphins going.
Let me get my.
Oh, let's do that. Like we a lot like.
This is another really good one.
Yeah, the real, and you take two big deep breaths.
Two big deep breaths.
Because you're breathing together and you connect.
3 deep
Yeah.
breaths.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We did that the other
Three's
day.
good enough for me.
Yeah, we did that the other day at church and it just
Try
connected you.
putting
Instead
your
of the
hand
high,
flat
high.
on the wall and just
Yeah.
That's
and
neat.
pull your shoulder
And you just go,
back.
wow.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That was my way of the doorway when we were
Good,
doing
good,
it.
good. Yeah, no, that feels great.
Honey, I'm not doing it right.
You're
Um,
close. You're really close.
Bring your hand out like that. Now lean forward.
Oh, yes, okay.
You feel that here?
I'm not yet.
Well, maybe be better over here
Do
then.
it in a doorway, and it really does work in a doorway.
I like the looks of this. Now, how do I do it?
Just lean forward.
Now just lean forward.
Just like this?
Yeah, feel that?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So some other ways to remember to do things that feel good is to keep something in your pocket. I mostly teach this class in Tulum, Mexico to tourists. And so I say, you know, make sure you buy yourself a new ring or a new bracelet or get a new tattoo or something where you'll see it. And if you don't have something new, you can give new significance to some other thing that you have. And just every time you notice it, remember to do something that feels good. Another thing that I do is I try to start everything I do with something that feels good. So I just had dinner and I'm deciding it's time to go do the dishes. Okay, on my way to the dishes, I'm gonna just maybe wring my hands a little bit and stretch and then do the dishes. Going out, getting ready to leave your house. Just before you leave the house and pick up all your stuff, do something that feels good. Get into your car, do something that feels good. I've been demonstrating the thing with the hands. In my longer class, I have people in flip-flops, and so it's easier. So I have them tell me which side of their body, let's do that now, which side of your body feels more tension, the right or the left, right now this minute? Left. Right. Okay, so whichever it is, I would have you do that foot. So if it's your right side, I'd have you do your right foot. If it's your left side, I'd have you do your left side. And then, when we got done with just 1 minute of a guided foot massage, I'm going to do it, and you go right ahead, girl. I'd have you close your eyes again, and you'd be like, oh my goodness, that side is now tingly and lighter and actually feels taller. All the way to the shoulders, not just on the foot. So then I have them take the opposite hand. So now we're gonna, whichever side you think is the most tense, take that hand. And we're just gonna give it a quick massage. And so I usually just grab it and squeeze it first on the back, and then kind of come around and really grab and squeeze that thumb, and maybe get some fingers in that part between the thumb and the fingers. And then maybe just pull off on the fingers. I really like it between my fingers. It might be because I have sinus issues, but I really like that. And then I just kind of do the palm again. And also do all the way around the wrist real good. And then pull that off and pull it up. Pull it off again, shake it. Now close your eyes. And tell me how that side of your body feels compared to the other side.
Lighter.
It is lighter, yeah.
And not just in your hand and your arm.
No.
Think, compare your two knees, for example. Does one side feel lighter than the other? And that was just, not even a full minute of massaging your hand. And so I like to teach people this is using reflexology in a different way. We've been mostly taught to, when we have something wrong with us, we make an appointment with somebody and we pay them money to do something to us to make better. But what I really think, in my feel-good way, it's about taking our power back. You don't have to have a degree in anything. You don't have to have taken a year of classes to be able to squeeze your own hand to make it. I mean, it's like you just gave yourself a full body massage. Then each hand represents half your body. Each foot represents half of your body. Guess what? You have ears too. And most acupuncturists are putting the needles in the ears because they know that there's points on the ears that reflect to the entire body. And guess what? So you want to do it kind of like you're feeling fine cloth, with the thumb on the top and the fingers on the other side, and you're just doing a lot of this. And you can do this one quicker than any of them, and you can do both at the same time, and you can pull on it a little bit, and then add a little Evo size to it. And wow, I bet you feel lots of good stuff from that.
My head feels fun.
It feels different.
Yeah, I give myself a full body self-massage every single day. I don't start any day without doing that because that's my no can do without. And I give thanks every day for being a good massage therapist because I'm my most frequent customer. I'm also a good cook and I'm really grateful for that. Some people aren't, right? They have to eat that crap. But I want to show you how easy it is to do self-massage. So what professional massage therapists do different than amateurs do a lot of this, right? And they get tired and they say, I can't do this anymore. Well, most professionals, I make my fingers stiff and then I move the whole hand around as opposed to doing a lot of that. So now start up here and I use this thumb as what's doing my neck. So watch how I'm doing this. My hand is hooked on to here, and I'm just moving my hand around, and I'm doing the neck, the whole neck. And if you put a second hand on top of it, it works better. And it isn't about pressure from that second hand. It has something to do with the energy completion. So now shift your attention to your fingertips and just dig them in and move the whole hand around. And now work out to the ball here. Now I can't put two hands on there, so I'm going to put the second hand to the closest joint I can reach, and it will keep giving you that energy circuit.
So are you using
And-
both hands there then?
Yeah, might as well. And so now just squeezing and pulling. Whenever you get to a joint, give it more attention because that's where a lot of the neural transmitters are released, is from joints. It's where we hook together and then go all the way down the hand and now come back up the arm and underneath here. It's really delicious. There's so much lymphatic stuff under there. Okay, now pull it up, pull it off, Take it off. And now close your eyes for a moment. And compare your side that you just did with the side that you didn't do. And that was, again, about 30-40 seconds of self-massage. So what I really love about my feel-good way is you're healing yourself and you're training yourself by radical self-care, by really loving yourself, right? And you're bringing yourself back to the breath. You're giving yourself the ability to relax enough to take that deep breath while you're walking around in your lives. You can be walking into the grocery store doing this and nobody's even going to notice, right? You can be doing this. I like to say you can stretch sitting across the table from your mother-in-law. You can just put one foot back like this and stretch while you're sitting underneath the table. You know, these things are things that we can do frequently throughout our day. And I think that self-love and being able to relax is really what's going to help our planet. We are so close, and that the tipping point is when we can truly, truly give ourselves the care that we deserve to have. It just happens like that. You just feel better and you can act better, and what you are feeling is literally affecting everyone around you and affecting everyone around them, and so on and so forth. So the better that we feel, the more we are contributing to the world feeling better, right? So I wanted to, before I finish, introduce you to my traveling companions. These are Alushas. They are Mayan leprechauns, shall we say. And they've come with me from Mexico, and they're going to go live with my grandchildren. And I was having kind of a tough time before I left on my trip because it wasn't quite going to go the way I wanted it to. And then finally I realized I have to relax and surrender and enjoy the ride. And this is what we've got to do on our planet. We really just need to surrender and take control of our own, how we feel, and take our power back on how we feel, and do things that feel good frequently throughout our day, and we will literally evolve our brains. So enjoy the ride, and if you run out of things that feel good, smile. Because that just instantly dumps those in your brain. And remember, if you are in a situation where you can't physically do something physically, just think about something that feels good, and it will release the same chemistry. So better living through chemistry, and enjoy the ride. And I've got some handouts here that are for my full class, so there might not be everything on here that I might have talked about things that aren't on here. Now wait a minute, didn't you just hear Jane? Yeah. So do something that feels good. But if you'd like, you can have one of these. They will remind you of some of the things that we talked about. And then I have a website, which is on my card. And I just got a contract from a publishing company, and I am about to launch some online classes and to publish my first book. And I really want my website to turn into a place where people can come for support and to share the things that they found that feel good. It's I call it my feel good way, but it's each of our feel good ways. So, and I also have started a mailing list through MailChimp, which you guys are really good at here at the Mystic Fair. I don't know who is doing all those emails, but they really did a great job.